Hello and welcome to the 11th installment of my grading of all of the base game cards. If you want insight into the grading system, check out the description or click on the link in the top right hand corner to get to the first video, where I explain it all. But let's get started. Something is not right about Earth Office. The game designers probably made it a 1-cost card instead of a 10-cost card by mistake. With its cost of 1, it pays off after just 2 Earth tags, and there are 22 Earth tags in the base game, making it the 5th most common type. But more important than the quantity of the Earth tags is their quality. Earth tags are in my opinion stronger on average than other cards. There are so many good ones like the ones you see on screen right now, and only 2 bad ones that can still work in the right situation. Getting a good discount on one of the best tags in the game is really valuable, and because it's so cheap, it can even be worth it in the super late game. Earth Office is super scary to pass to an opponent with a lot of cards on hand or card draw down, and all in all I'd rank it an A tier. It's just that good. Ecological Zone is one of those cards that newer players tend to underestimate. Its strength isn't easily quantifiable, since when you just start playing the game you don't know how many plant and animal tags there are and how strong they are. But its potential is massive and it can easily score 4 to 6 points in a normal game. Why? Well, because while animal tags are super rare, plant tags are not, and many of them are really good. Also, since so many of them have mid to late game restrictions and because there are other ways to get greeneries without green tags, it is normally not a problem to get a greenery down for Ecological Zone before playing any of the plant tags. There are of course other benefits. Placing a tile is really good, since you can deny points from your opponent's cities, get enough plants for a conversion, draw a card or get an ocean rebate. Or of course a combination of these effects. And lastly, Ecological Zone combos really well with other green combo cards like Viral or Decomposers and grants you a plant tag for NRA or insects. It's also amazing for Ecologist or Generalist. All in all, a phenomenal card. S tier in my opinion, but definitely at the low end of S tier. Electro Catapult has high potential, but is quite situational. If you get it in the super early game, have a cheap way to get 1 power and steel prot to sell every gen, then it is pretty good for an engine player. But if you're going for a fast game, for example, it often is too much of an investment early on. Also, if your steel prot gets destroyed by Great Escarpment Consortium, you're in really bad shape. I would also advise you to not sell plants with this. Plants are worth much more than steel, especially in the mid to late game. The only situation in which selling plants is generally better than steel is when you're going for a heavy engine strat with a lot of continuous card draw and you have picked some odd plants by placing a tile like restricted area, but are not planning on going for a ground game. All in all, Electro Cat is a heavy investment, quite situational, but can be pretty strong in the right situation. C tier in my opinion. Even more situational, we have Energy Saving. I've played this card maybe 3 times in my life, but every time I played it, it was quite nice. Sadly, the situations in which this card is great are super rare. Cities are not a good early game play, but you need to play Energy Saving quite early on to make the most out of it. If there are 3 cities down, this card gives better value than Giant Space Mirror, for example, if you ignore the space tag. And with 4 cities down, I'd say this card is really good. More and you get absolutely crazy value, if you get to play it somewhat early on. But when was the last time you saw 4 cities or more in Gen 2 or 3? It just never happens with good players, and that makes Energy Saving a D tier card in my opinion. You can definitely pick it up if 2 players are battling for Mayor early on, but it is absolutely useless in so many situations that I have to rank it in D tier. Energy Tapping is one of the 2 cards that makes us play Power Prot and Power Hungry cards in one go whenever possible. You just don't want to get tapped in between your actions. Therefore, it is a really influential card in that regard, but because every player knows about it and tries to avoid just floating Power Prot, it also loses some of its strength. Of course, there are also situations where people use Power Prot as Heat Prot, and then you can easily use Energy Tapping to nerf them pretty hard and get your own Power Prot going. It is also really cheap, influential on everyone's play, and sometimes a must card in the draft, namely when you are floating Power Prot yourself. But it also has a negative point on it, is only useful in the early game, and everyone knows about it. All in all, I'd rank it in C tier. since there are so many situations where it is absolutely useless, especially in the late game. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments whether you agree with my ratings, or if not, how you would have rated them differently. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And lastly, please check out my Twitch and my Twitter. See you in the next video.